You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Summer is nearly here, and the formal concert season, a virtual one that we all experienced here in the province this past year, has nearly come to a close. It's been a year of pivots, changes, and adaptations for arts and culture organizations of all sizes. And just before Manitoba Opera closes the curtain on 2020-2021, we've reached Larry Desrochers, General Director and CEO, to catch up on what was and what hopefully will be. Hello, Larry. Welcome back to Classic 107.
Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you.
Well, of course. Let's start off with the obvious. This year was a year unlike any other. I'm very curious, when you think back on it, what first comes to mind?
When I think back on it, what first comes to mind is the Sopranos of Winnipeg concert that we live streamed last fall, because it wasn't the first sort of online event that we did, because we'd actually done a dinner earlier in June, but as a performance event, it was the first thing that we did, and just so proud of all the women that performed in that concert and how terrific they were, and that we were able to pull off this idea of streaming a concert live that we had never done before. So that's the first thing that comes to mind out of all the things that we've done. Yeah.
You know what? I think it's something that comes to mind for so many of us, because we're all proud of hometown talent. But that show really just put into perspective how much talent is right here in Winnipeg. And like you say, it was just sopranos performing at that show. It was really incredible, wasn't it?
Oh, it really was. And of course, at that time, so many things have been canceled out of the spring and summer, and the artists were really concerned about what their futures would be. And, just being backstage with all those incredible women, and to feel the excitement of that they had for the opportunity to perform. It was really a special night. So we're so happy with it, and so happy that we were able to do it. And yeah, just an incredible amount of talent in the city, exemplified by 7 sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll all look back on it fondly. And speaking of keeping things local, I mean, that one of 2 marquee productions that Manitoba Opera put together. The other, another local talent, but world-renowned, Al Simmons and his one-man opera, Telling of Rossini's Barber of Seville. I do have to say, Larry, that was one of my favorite interviews I've ever had. Poor internet connection and all, just because he's one of my favorite entertainers, a childhood idol, and an idol for all that are young at heart or young in age, right?
Oh, totally. Al is a treasure, like he is such a performer. He has such a good feel for the audience and understanding. And that was one of the things that, as we talked about the project, and Al's talked about, concerned about taking this piece, which we commissioned him about in 2009. And so he's been touring it off and on into schools for 10 or 11 years. And when you see him with a live audience with kids, he just feeds off the kids so well and incorporates whatever they're giving him into the show on the spot. He's such a good improviser and a good vaudevillian, right? That's the kind of style that he comes from. And then to see how he adapted it for this short film, this digital presentation, it was just brilliant. He's just so good. And we were so glad that we were able to, because it was going to tour in the schools, I think, last fall. And, thanks to the Safe at Home program, that was partly of what funded that program, that we were able to, record a really different version of it and get it out there for audiences.
I mean, you keep mentioning recording. This is all something that we're getting used to and we've become used to. I mean, we're connecting over Zoom right now. This is the way of doing things, and has been for the past 15 months or so. And I think what's really interesting here, as we've seen from so many different arts organizations, is it's all about engaging audiences in new ways, whether it's, having 7 sopranos each taking the stage one at a time from the Centennial Concert Hall, or having Al Simmons record a one-man show. Did you find that there were new audiences who were finding Manitoba Opera this year?
Yeah, there were. I mean, even on the Sopranos of Winnipeg concert, there was people that tuned in from Australia.
Yeah.
So that normally wouldn't happen at a concert in the concert hall. And the piece because we were a little bit more strategic in how we promoted it, we recorded our chorus singing the Easter chorus from Cavalleria Rusticana, and we put that out on Good Friday. And we were really strategic in and pushing it to bigger markets around North America. And that piece got about 35,000 views. Wow. Elena Brown, who is the local videographer who shot it, just did a beautiful job of it became its own piece of art, and was really created for a digital experience. How she incorporated the chorus, and Larry Chikevich sang the soprano role in it, and yeah, it was just a beautiful piece, and that piece had the biggest reach for us.
Mm-hmm. So again, we're talking about this whole digital realm thing. And last year, for the first time, Manitoba Opera offered Digital Emerging Artists Program, DEEP, as it's called. It's a young artist program focusing on vocal and professional development. And I'm thrilled to say DEEP is back again this year. Why was it so important to bring back?
Well, I think we're still at this point of we haven't left the old live performing world behind us, but we're not really yet back to the sort of new live performing world. And in the last year, because artists have been creating so much content online, and it's really interesting to look back at what was created like in April of 2020 and what's being created now, and how artists have evolved and learned so much about this technology. We still thought that there was a place to do it, and there was also still kind of the safest way to do it, as we're still sort of in a restricted time here. So yeah, so the application deadline is June 4th. So there's still a little bit of time for folks to get their applications in, and it will run again. I think it starts August the 4th for 4 weeks. Yeah.
I mean, I am curious about it. I mean, being the first young artist program that Manitoba Opera has put on, what kind of feedback did you get from last year's 4 participants?
A lot of really positive feedback, and also because it was kind of the program was so unique. It was all delivered online via Zoom or other communication platforms like Facebook Live or whatever, and a really excellent core faculty of vocal instructors, Tracy Dahl and Monica Huseman and Marion Newman and John Tessier, and all those instructors are back this year. Most of the instructors are back. We didn't want to, because we'd only done the program once, we didn't really want to reinvent the wheel the second time. So it's a very similar program. And the feedback that we got was, the artists really appreciated the amount of time that they had through all the vocal coachings and master classes, the breadth of content that we covered, because we did cover, they created short digital content pieces. So they worked with Ann Hodges and Rob Harriet, Catherine Twaddle, local directors, to create that content. They had other master classes, they had diction classes. And so when I went back and counted it over the 4-week period, they had 80 different sessions with the instructors. So they were really busy. We're scaling it back a little bit this year because I think we wore them to the bone at the end of that process last year. But yeah, I think one of the things to take away, or the feedback that we got, was just the lot of sort of personal one-on-one connections with the instructors.
Yeah, not just vocal development, but just professional development at all levels, something that is just so important for young artists to make that next step. Now, of course, in terms of next steps, none of us have a crystal ball. We're in a precarious place currently here in the province. But I've got to ask, while I've got you on the line, future plans for Manitoba Opera, anything that you can speak to or hint at? We're going to announce what we're going to do probably in the early part of July. So we have all plans in place. We're really looking at a sort of a 2-year strategy. So our 21-22 season is going to be small scale. We want to manage the scope of what we're doing so we can make sure we could create a safe environment for everybody, for the artists and the audiences. Still, at this point, we don't really know how many will be allowed in the hall. So we're planning for
for small audiences. So the first in the fall, really small productions and semi-staged with the orchestra. Then in the spring, a fuller staged new production of standard repertoire that we will do. But then we're really being conservative next year because 22-23 is our 50th anniversary season. Yeah. And that's where we really want to come back with a splash. And we have some exciting projects planned for that year. And yeah, so can't give you the specifics. I can give you the approach.
No, I appreciate that. And I mean, so much to look forward to on the horizon for Manitoba Opera. And I'm just kind of, thinking over here for all the other voice parts, we're thinking, Sopranos of Winnipeg. Are the mezzos going to get a shot? Are there going to be some tenors of Winnipeg, or maybe some baritones out there?
Yeah, we might have to. We have to be sort of equal to everyone. But the other thing that I want to say, the other big project that we're actually releasing tomorrow, June 1, is a program. Again, it's 20 short films of 5 local artists singing a whole range of repertoire, everything from Mozart to Marvin Gaye. And Aaron Hutton and Lizzie Hoyt and Stephanie Sy, James McLennan, Lisa Bell are all performing pieces that they selected. And local filmmaker Deco Dawson shot all of these artists, recorded all of these artists. A really eclectic program, and really cool visuals. And so we shot that in April, over 5 days in the concert hall stage, and then we release it June 1. So that'll be very, very cool. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be very, very cool because I've seen some of the teasers online and I've been going, okay, when's it going to drop? When's it going to drop? So I'm so happy that it's coming out, especially with talent like that, vocalists performing on the stage, but also just the way that it looks. It looks like it's going to be so engaging. So, I mean, there's lots to talk about with Manitoba Opera, lots to enjoy and lots to look forward to. So Larry, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Well, thanks a lot for having me. Really enjoyed it.